Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sunday SmackDown. Before we get started, I'm very excited to announce the New World Championship 2019. As a lot of you will know, I now work for Escape TV, and this July, we're going to fly out the top 8 players from around the world to our studio to compete in a 4-day LAN tournament. This is going to be absolutely huge for Age of Empires 3. The last tournament like this was the World Cyber Games 2008, where H2O defeated I Am Grunt now over 10 years ago, and a decade later, here we are to do it again. So stay tuned for updates. It's going to be very, very cool. So yes, but SmackDown this week, we have a sort of double bill, 2 SmackDowns to watch. Basically, a friend of mine who I've known in the Age of Empires community for a while now, he was in town. His name is Peacelot, or Pezzet. We decided to meet up, and to make the most of it, we did some commentary. So today, this video you're watching now is me and Mito casting as usual. The prize pool is, of course, funded by the SmackDown patrons. But afterwards, as a sort of extra bonus video, an extra SmackDown, if you will, me and Peacelot, we cast another series, and that video will go live directly after this one. Links in the description to that. So, yes. A couple of things before we get this underway. There is currently a big discussion happening on the ESOC forums. Should the double cards patch be made permanently available? A lot of people have been wondering about this. For the last couple of SmackDowns, of course, we've played on the double shipments patch. That's what the last 2 series were, and it turned out to be surprisingly popular and I think quite fun to play. So lots of people have been asking, how do I play this myself with my friends? And the answer is, you can't anymore, but it probably will come back in the future with a future SmackDown, but and then it will be available again. But we are thinking, should it be available as something separate, available in ESOC patch all of the time? So if that's something you want to read through, or perhaps put your thoughts on that thread, there is a link in the description. But without further ado, enjoy the video. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sunday SmackDown. This will be ordinary supremacy without Fortress Age politician changes. Last time we teased that there would be Fortress Age politician changes, but actually we're going to lump that in with the EP6 release. So for those that don't know, ESOC patch obviously is the patch we all use for competitive play, and SmackDown patch is built on top of ESOC patch, so to speak. I'm just going to turn down the speed at which my screen moves because I was playing recently, but now I'm casting, so we need to set it back silky smooth. Oh baby. But yes, there's going to be a balance update, and maybe me and Mito will discuss the changes that are coming up when they eventually land. But we thought, let's lump in the Fortress Age politician changes with EP6 so it's all together, and we'll just stay with the ordinary Colonial Age politicians so far. But today we do indeed have Mito casting with me. I was about to introduce you as a player because... Whoopsie. But you're casting. Hello, Mito. Yes, actually, the player I meant to say was Miggo, not Mito. Here he is in the upside of the map? Yes, the north of the map, in the colour green player, as indeed the British. Gone with an early trading post here. Interesting things coming out of Miggo already, foregoing the mana start. I don't have my UI installed, Mito, because we were playing, as I said, so we should tell the players for a restart. Oh my goodness.
Hey, guess what? I also don't have my UI installed.
Alright, we're back, absolutely. So, was playing recently, which means you do not want the UI installed, so I had to uninstall it, and I'm used to just having it installed all the time. But we're back, and this will be attempt number 2, and in a way, this is good, because it means we'll get to introduce the players and talk a bit about them. Tabben and Miggo. So let's do this again, attempt number 2. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 1 in a best of 7 series between Tabben and Miggo for Sunday SmackDown. Absolutely. Ordinary supremacy this week. The map will be Kamchatka. And we get the Summer Spawn. I really like the Summer Spawn. I think this is my favourite, or one of my favourite maps. Actually, I really, really like Summer Kamchatka. I think I have a lot of quite fond tournament memories, watching really, really great games, some of the early ESOC events, and it'll always be this really excellent map. So, really, really pleased with the Summer Kamchatka. But Tabben, we know Tabben, he's been playing for a while, came out of nowhere a couple of years ago, or maybe a year ago,
He did kind of pop out of nowhere. I honestly didn't even know who he was, and just randomly he was like PR 35 plus. But he sort of established himself as a PR 35 plus player since then, so he's definitely very strong. Miggo, on the other hand, same sort of thing. I knew more about Miggo before he became a PR 35 player, but recently he's risen to such heights as well. So should be an interesting match between two of the newest top players in the game.
Yeah, which is why I wanted to get them on the SmackDown, so that we could sort of introduce their names. I don't think Tabben really needs introducing. We've seen him in plenty of tournaments. But Miggo, for me, was sort of, just slightly better than me. I always thought of him as just being, marginally better than myself. But actually, he's very, very good now, and I think about the same rank as Tabben. So we should be up for a really good series here. And also something interesting is I believe Tabben and Miggo in the Generals table are teammates. A 2v2 tournament hosted by the ESO-community.net, as well as Hazza, I believe, is also sponsoring that, or co-organising it, I suppose. They're putting on a 2v2 tournament, and these two guys are buddies. So they're playing together as a team, so I thought it would be another interesting dynamic to have them on SmackDown, Maito.
Yeah, I think they did actually already play out their 2v2 match, but I won't spoil that for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. It was a pretty close match, though, so should check that out.
Yeah,
they
I'll
were
put a
playing
link
against
to
Azamk and Chalet.
Ooh, Azamk and Chalet. Azamk indeed. And Chalet, definitely a very strong player who goes back a very long time. I think took a massive break, or has had multiple breaks in his career, but is back with us today. Age of Empires 3, never forget. It'll always be... You never truly quit Age of Empires 3, I think. You just sort of go away for periods of time and come back. But yes, if you want to check out that match, there will be a link in the description below. But let's get into this. We do indeed have an 80 food treasure up for grabs here. Looks like Tabben should not see any contention. Easily going to pick that up there. But his opponent's Explorer sort of nearby. Looks like he's waiting for an 85 wood treasure. But the Scout, he's seen it. And that means... the Red Explorer can head on over there. He's got plenty of HP. So this is going to be a hot pickup, and I think both players are going to have their eyes on that for the time being. No one, by the looks of it, willing to commit since both in the area, but we'll keep an eye on that for the time being. But let's introduce the civilizations. It is going to be, of course, Tabben playing as the French. Early market start there versus Miggo playing the British. This time electing to build a market rather than that trading post that we saw in the previous game. Maybe it was a different crate start. I'm not entirely sure, but... they're both aging up. Maito, I'll hand it over to you.
They're aging up. Let me check what they're aging up with.
Oh, yes, that's a good shout.
Completely standard politicians this time around. You're going to be the governor for the British, so you'll get that tower and that 200 gold, and the 400 wood quartermaster for Tabben. So nothing unusual as of yet. Explorers just saying hi to each other on the bottom side of the map here. Oh, but Miggo not paying attention, getting snared. Native Scout is a little bit low as well, though. Not going to be providing too much assistance before he has to get out of there.
Yeah, it looks like
he's
he's
going to get out with 1 HP.
He's going to keep it alive, though. That's the critical thing, right? Can put that in stealth, and it's going to be useful. 2 HP is better than no HP. Is still alive, and that's all you need. But doesn't look like anyone's going to go for that wood treasure. Both players whittling down their hit points. I suppose one of them will go back for it once they hit the next day, since, of course, you do that, get that HP bonus. But by the looks of it, Tabben is going to sort of come out on top here, forcing him all the way home, and Miggo is going to have a low HP Explorer back in his base. But this is a pretty funky matchup. I do indeed like a bit of French and British here. So, Maito, can you tell us a bit about how this usually plays out?
Yeah, it's a bit of an interesting matchup. Also, the Vils joining the fight here against this Explorer to try and even the odds. It's going to be really close. I think...
that
the
was
age
very
up.
close. Yeah, HP boost coming in strong.
Yeah, the age ups for both players are going to signal the end of that fight before any blood is spilled. Yeah, so French versus British. This is kind of an interesting matchup because British, are a lot stronger in the colonial age than most civilizations because they have those nice musket and hussar upgrades in their home city. Whereas France, on the other hand, they have some good upgrades as well, but they're for hussars and skirmishers primarily. Which means that if they stay at H2 for a long time, they're going to have a little bit of a disadvantage in this matchup. Unless, of course, they have the early Skirmisher card, which can give them a little bit more combat capacity against Civ like British that goes pretty musket heavy in H2. And Tabben does actually have that in his deck.
He does.
This is one of the few matchups where I think that card is actually quite good. But yeah, on the other hand, France also has a really easy time getting up to Fortress, whereas British does not. And even though British has a really strong Fortress as well, because they don't have the tempo behind that with the slow age politician, it can be a little bit awkward for them in that sense. So we'll see what players choose to go for. It's really close, sort of regardless of what they do, I think.
Yeah.
And it looks like, for the moment, both players just starting muskets.
Yep.
Miggo probably anticipating some raids, the reason he probably started the muskets. Tabben, on the other hand, I know he's a player that really likes his Musk Husk compositions, his Musk Falk compositions, and stuff like that. And this is a really common strategy we've been seeing a lot from France in recent days, is to go with a musket semi, send those 2 Falks, add in some cuirassiers, or cuirassiers. I'm not actually 100% sure on the pronunciation there, but you get the point. And with that strong Vet Musk Falk Cuirassier composition, they push out, and it's really hard for a lot of civs to deal with. So it looks like that's what Tabben's going to be going with this time around.
Yeah,
and it's definitely something that Brit will struggle to deal with.
Looks like it indeed. But 5 Musketeers a little bit out in the open here. Often I find just 5 on their own can be a little bit vulnerable to, say, 5 Hussars. I think, though, of course, this native scout, he spotted that Miggo has a barracks and not a stable, so is quite happy to have his Musketeers so far away from home. There's no sort of snare potential here. He doesn't have to be worried about a fast-moving unit like a Hussar trapping him. And just going to use these 5 Musks to come up close to his opponent's base and maybe snipe some villies. There's a couple of villagers there, and often when you're up against British, they do build their manor houses quite far out from base, like we see a manor house dotted here. Let's go back to this fight. Can he pick up a villager kill? It looks like he might be able to do it. No, does pick it up, but he's going to trade about 1 musketeer's worth of health and a little bit on this other guy there. But I think a fairly nice pickup for Tabben. He'll be pleased with that. Doesn't lose any units, just a bit of HP there.
Yeah, definitely a worthwhile pickup for him. And this raid is sort of dual purposed. Like, harassing the vills is great and killing a vill is great. But on the other hand, I think he also wants to keep Miggo perhaps interested in staying colonial a little while longer. Miggo not going to fall for it, though. Going to send 700 gold. Almost has the resources to age off of that. And he's going to be sending another musketeer raid around, it looks like. So he's just going to continue harassing with these muskets. We'll see exactly what unit composition he goes for now that he's in the Fortress Age. He didn't send a wood shipment, so it might be sending 1,000 wood. Looks like that is probably the case, as he doesn't have any villagers in wood at the moment. So he'll be playing this a little bit more slowly, but he certainly has the time to do so at the moment.
Yep, seems fine. British definitely not got anything aggressive in mind here. We can see walls coming up. Buckle yourself in, ladies and gentlemen. This could be a long one. Hunker down. I'm looking forward to this. Miggo pulling out some walls, going to prolong this and hopefully give himself a bit of extra protection with that shell. But these musketeers not going to find that wall stopping them on this south side of the base. Going to waltz on in here and perhaps find something to kill. But Miggo going to position his musketeers nicely there so that it's unlikely Tabben will come across anything and going to scare them away. They're not going to want to stay put for the time being. But yes, Maito, you're absolutely right. Tabben choosing to play this in the Fortress Age and going to be shipping 1,000 wood as his first card here to get the infrastructure down. There goes the stable, and I imagine a bunch of houses as well with that wood. But a nice strong start, sort of a more valuable start. Wood is valuable. Not an aggressive start. It's not like it's 8 skirms or something.
Just a second, I have to sneeze.
Achoo! Okay, but
okay. It feels like every time. It feels like every time you finish your point, and I'm like about to speak, I'm like in the middle of like a sneeze or something, and I'm like trying to mute the microphone for it, but I feel so bad because I can't pick up from where you're leaving off right away.
Oh, you're right.
I don't remember what we were talking about. Alright, looks like there's a second Rax from Miggo.
And he's now up to Fortress Age as well. Going to go up with a 6 Longbowmen there. Remember, this is not the politician patch. Well, it is. It's the Colonial Age politician. But remember, when we update the politicians, actually this age time will be 10 seconds better. And you get 6 Longbowmen 10 seconds sooner and be in the Fortress Age a little bit sooner. But not the case, but something to watch out for. I think British going to benefit quite a lot from those particular politicians. But has now got in a couple of extra units here. Got Longbowmen and Musketeers on the ball. And I expect if we take a look at techs being researched, we'll see.
So Tabben is going H4.
Okay, that explains the 1,000 wood. And the extra trading post.
But I think Miggo might have some indication of some funky stuff going on, as he hasn't seen a lot of units yet. So he's going to be pushing out with this 2 Falconet card. It's a little bit risky, but I think with the information he's been given, or not given, rather, it's fair enough to say that Tabben is up to something, so this is a good call from him.
Yeah, he recognizes, wait, my opponent isn't doing anything, I'm not having to deal with any pressure, there's no units, which usually means something's going on. You can expect from, you know, an opponent like Tabben, who's pretty good at the game, that they're not just going to sit there for no reason. It's probably because they're aging up. Coming in now in the base, going to pick up that Explorer. He was dead, he's now alive. Going to sit down with the Falconets and start dumping on this town center here, really apply some pressure to it. I guess that's a good building. Against British, houses are less interesting to kill. There is a market there, but I suppose if you think or suspect that your opponent's aging, pressuring the town center is actually pretty reasonable as well. We're going to see Tabben hitting up to the next stage. What's he going up with? The Engineer. This is going to give him 2 Falconets, which could be pretty good against his opponent's Falconets there. Skirmish is also going to be quite good against the Musketeers, so providing Tabben can keep these 2 Falcons alive, I think he'll be doing alright. Let's check his deck and see what's available there. 2 heavy cannons and a couple of factories as well. So not a super industrial age deck with tons of different shipments, but certainly the basics, and that's all you're really going to need. Musketeers coming up close. They want to get into hand combat versus the Falcons. They're going to achieve that there, but Miggo is not going to get away with that for free. Of course, the skirmishes here in the CDB is going to help kill, but I think probably worth going into hand combat here.
Yep, the CDBs have joined the fray. There's a 2 heavy cannon shipment on the way for sure. And the town center, it looks like it is going to hold, and I don't know if there's enough infantry here to deal with the 2 heavy cannon shipment at this point. So I think Tabben is actually going to hold this pretty comfortably. Here's the shipment.
Is he going to go hand combat with Longbowmen? Yeah, he's doing it.
He is.
Oh, wow. Taken down half the HP there. If he can kill off 1 heavy cannon, that's probably going to be worth it, given the units were already within range of that cannon. Does manage to pick it up. And I think he'll be pleased with that exchange. I think actually Miggo, he did quite a reasonable amount of damage there. He managed to deal with the 2 Falconet age up quite nicely and has picked off 1 heavy cannon, which is going to make this a lot less threatening. Let's take a look at the economic unit population here. British, behind this, he's going to be feeling pretty good, right? Let's click on a villager. He's got his steel traps, so he's got reasonable upgrades, given that he's mostly gathering food. I think placer mines would certainly be nice. We'll see if he gets that. But, you know, the point is he's got a lot more villagers, 44 villagers here, with a few more units reinforcing. His opponent only on 30, which is still pretty good, and he is in the industrial age, remember, but has got a less of an economy.
Yeah, but you have to remember he has access to those factory ships now that he is in the industrial age, so he will be catching up in the economy relatively quickly.
Yeah, look how quickly he's caught up. He's now on 40. That factory really making the difference. I think, though, the factory is overrepresented at the moment because it doesn't have its upgrades, and on this graphic here, it assumes that it does have upgrades. But, of course, when he gets the second factory and the upgrade, it's going to be really good. Musketeers, they're coming in here. Oh, I see, with a couple of the hussars there, going to try and get on top of this heavy cannon, but I think that it might... I think he's going to get it. I think he's going to take down that cannon, and then I think Miggo should be in a okay spot. I think he'll be alright. I think this is what he wanted to achieve. He wanted to get rid of the second cannon and then play the game out from there, knowing his opponent doesn't have that super difficult artillery to deal with.
Yeah, that was certainly a very risky push from Tabben. He's going to come out winning this fight in the end, but losing the heavy cannon, definitely not something you want to do. And it looks like he's actually switched his factory over to heavy cannon production. Just looking at it, it's not generating any resources at the moment, so he'll be getting more heavy cannons over time, but it will be a couple minutes before he receives the next one. And this is a really risky position for Miggo, actually, with all these villagers sort of exposed right here.
Yeah, those hussars, I mean, the dragoons and the musketeers, they're pretty scary for hussars, right? They're not going to want to stand around too long. But a few more reinforcing veteran musks here, and he should be able to hold this position. He doesn't really want to be moving those villages because it's going to be a long time before he can gather food again. So he's going to take that fight and manages to push Tabben back and secure that location, and manages to keep his stable as well. This is a really interesting game. I really like this dynamic of now France being an an age up in the industrial age, making heavy cannons. The economy's evened out again. This is not your usual first game in a Sunday SmackDown.
Yeah, it certainly isn't. Usually we don't see the fast industrials until after someone has already won a game. But this is something Tabben has done before in tournament games, so he's definitely very comfortable with this type of playstyle as France. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any other industrial age shipments after those 2 factories cannons, so he's resorted to shipping fortress age shipments, but being ahead in economy as a result of those factories will help him anyway, and having access to that greater tech and heavy cannons and all that stuff will put him in a good position either way.
Yeah, Fortress A shipment's still pretty good. Remember, he's still got stuff like the 2 heavy cannons, which he can send. Gonna easily clean this up here. I think Miggo pushing a little bit too far ahead, getting ahead of himself. But remember, Tabben, if he'd put more industrial age shipments in his deck, sure, that'd be great, because you'd have more to send, and you're in the industrial age, and you'd be able to make use of being there more effectively. But if he'd done that, I think that would have signaled to Miggo more that that was his plan, that was his agenda, and then Miggo could do something to, you know, stop that, or make it less effective. I think, in a way, not showing your strategy with your shipments is interesting, and could result in making it, you know, I think people know where I'm going.
Yeah, definitely. And, okay, just looking off the back of this, Tabben's in a really good position now that that 1 heavy cannon has finally completed itself from the factory. I imagine there will be another one from the 2nd factory in another 30 seconds or so. And he's got a really strong timing with this, especially on this forward location. Thankfully, the hunt has been cleared out already by Miggo, so he's not going to have any vills under threat, but the stable will likely go down, perhaps with a couple manor houses.
Yeah, in the middle here, looks like Tabben has this location on lockdown. Definitely going to be worth taking out these buildings, not just for the XP, but British going to be needing that population at some point, I expect, as well. Red has a lot of forward vills, but more interestingly, I might say, look at this counter pressure from Miggo. Whilst Tabben is in the middle of the map, Miggo's going to come down here with his units. Not going to find any villagers, though, but these factories are a little bit exposed. I think, thankfully, for Tabben, only a few musketeers there, and the rest of the units not particularly high siege, but could be vulnerable unless he does something, unless he comes back now. Still just going to push forward here up in the north of the map there. Does find a few stray longbowmen, is going to pick them up, but I'm a little bit concerned about that factory.
Yeah, it definitely is a little bit concerning. And this is one of the best ways to deal with a cannon-heavy army, right? Because cannons are so immobile. It's really hard for Tabben to go back and defend this. And you can see, like, Tabben's just completely given up on defending this at this point. He's just continuing the pressure, pushing forward with his army. And it's gonna turn into something of a little base trade. Looks like there's a heavy cannon out from the factory again. He should be able to deal with that relatively easily with these hussars, but not for free. Those longbow will eat another cannon volley.
Yeah, I think, though, Miggo's still going to be really pleased to find that cannon just sitting there out in the open. Going to quickly pick that up with his hussars for not much cost. But Tabben, I think he's just going to sacrifice this area. It looks like Tabben's just not defending his factories. Miggo's not gone for them yet. I think he's going to keep them up. I feel like there was an excellent opportunity for Miggo to take those factories down, but not going to be the case. Has found some villagers on the top here with these muskets.
Yep, and he's also got an artillery foundry up here as well,
Yeah.
so culverins in queue will be his answer to the heavy cannons and the falconets that are now inside his main base. They're going to be a little far away when they pop out, but hopefully he doesn't lose too much infrastructure or villagers off of this. It looks like about 4 or 5 villagers going to go down to these dragoons. Not the end of the world. Oh, and picks off 1 cannon with these hussars, so that's really nice for him. Unfortunately, it was only a falconet and not a heavy cannon. Difference in strength there is quite a bit, and there's still like just this pressure going down on the other side with these military units, like cutting off reinforcements, picking off villagers, denying gathering, and all this stuff. So Miko's doing a really, really good job of sort of mitigating the damage here, but at the same time he has to worry about his own villagers back at home.
Yep. Being forced into the town centre now. It doesn't look like they're long for this world. Those cannons getting up nice and close to that town centre, really getting into position to hunker down and deal some damage to it. Dragoon's going to chase down a couple of longbowmen that are still alive, but those villagers are trapped inside, and I don't think that town centre is going to last much longer with all these cannons. But back home, both factories still alive. Did lose a heavy cannon, one that trained at the factory and popped out, but I feel like Miggo, he lost an opportunity there to maybe really pressure a factory and force his opponent to either come home or lose a factory.
Yeah, but at the same time here, the culverins are out. They're here back at the main base with the small army. He might be able to get one shot on the cannons.
Oh, yes he does. Doesn't kill it though. but skirmishers and dragoons really close to these culverins now. But I think Miggo not going to mind too much. The longbowmen and the musketeers going to get plenty of damage on these red units whilst they're targeting the culverins. Either way, they're going to try and escape them behind the wall. Doesn't manage to save one there and traded off a few of his units for it. Looks like the villagers giving those cannons a hard time, and villagers trying to get into hand combat here. This seems really good, forcing a fight, really nicely done, and those cannons, I think, are going to be adequately dealt with. One lot volley on the longbowmen, though, that's going to finish quite a lot of them off. But now, Miggo, he's managed to get rid of these heavy cannons, and I feel like he's in a good spot as a result.
Yep, and one CDB going to be joining the fray on top of those longbows. Is he going to live? No, he's going to go down. Don't know why he's in the main base, but he's there. And yeah, it looks like Miggo will stabilize off the back of this, and he's killed a lot of villagers behind this as well, so he's still, relatively even in villager population, so this game is still really close.
Yeah.
However, that being said, there's not a lot of natural resources left for Miggo. He's already constructed a mill up here on the top side of the map. And not even within his wall either. It's safer there than it was in his main base a moment ago, so...
Well, it's still, I mean, there were units on the other side of that wall, so it still feels like there's a degree of separation from the units. But actually, yes, it's not in his base, but I suppose Miggo could easily add more walls. But you're absolutely right. The natural resources are running out for Miggo. Still got a bit of coin, but in terms of hunts, they're all sort of under the control of Tabben, unless Miggo can get out on the map with his longbowmen and these musketeers, which he's doing, and reclaim these hunts. But otherwise, he's going to have to switch to mills, and I think the switch to mills and plantations is going to be much easier for Tabben overall, since he's got 2 factories out and he can get that wood upgrade and really get all the wood he needs quite easily from factories. But still, at the moment, he's got them set on heavy cannon production. There's quite a number of cannons here. Just as Miggo thought he'd dealt with all of them, there's now quite a few more that have come out of the battlefield, and you can see here he's got mass production produced as well. So those factories are upgraded, not for resources, but for artillery production. Looks like here, these musketeers getting absolutely shreked, and here the longbowmen, I think they're a little bit concerned. Has he got the lock? He has. He's got the, oh my goodness, going down like skittles, like bowling balls. Oh my goodness, and he's, I think, here just trying to make... It's absolutely disgusting, and I really like the switch into Halbs here. Really, really nice unit for defending artillery, and it looks like Tabben is going to pick up game number 1 in this series.
Yeah, I guess just losing the army was too much for Miggo after not having any hunts left, running out of gold mines as well. He's not going to have a lot of culverins on the way as well, so not going to be able to reproduce an army capable of dealing with these heavy cannons after already losing so many units to them. Yeah,
I feel like he dealt with the cannons. He got his villagers up close. He's like, oh, finally, got rid of the cannons. Right, now we can play on an even playing field. Right then, I'm going to hunker down. I'm going to get my mills and plantations behind my walls in my base. I'm going to send refrigeration and royal mint, which he did. He's going to set up for the long game and, macro to 99 villagers and settle down for the long haul. But, doesn't work. I guess then there's 4 more heavy cannons to deal with, and Tabben's still sending military units whilst his opponent is sending the upgrades. That is going to mark a strong army, and here you can see cleans up those longbowmen pretty easily, and now Miggo doesn't have anything left. It's inevitable. The red units, they're going to make their way over to green, and that is going to be the end of game number 1. Tabben picking up the first point. Let's take a quick look at these graphs. Miggo picking up the most resources there. Let's take a look at that resource timeline, actually, despite the factories. I suppose they were actually configured to cannons, which don't count as resources production, but they do sort of still count as economy, since you are generating a unit that I suppose adds value. But you can see British had a good economy there, but the cannons really quite difficult to deal with. Villager production, much further ahead. The economy of Tabben was mostly factories, as we mentioned, military unit population here, and there's that big dip at the end. But that will be game number 1. We'll be back in just a moment. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game number 2 in this best of 7 series between Tabben and Miggo. The map pool, let me pull it onto the screen here. This is going to be, we just played on Summer Kamchatka. The next map will be Baja, California, unless our opponents, our players have picked vetoes for those particular maps. So Miggo picking Desert, as in the Tar Desert, and also New England has been vetoed. I'm not sure which player vetoed which, but let's take a look at that map pool again. We will not playing on Tar Desert, and we will not be playing on New England, which is a shame because I really like New England as a map. Really fun and interesting dynamic, but we thought we'd test out this map pool because me and Maito and a few others have put a lot of thought into this map pool for a particular reason, which we will not disclose, and we'll let you all stew.
That is very rude of you, Interjection.
Yes, well, details will be out soon. But hopefully we can test it out and see if it's a good map pool. I think it is. I like all the maps. And Baja, California will be next. By the looks of it, we have Japan versus Russia for game number 2, Maito.
Yep, this is a matchup. Tabben, having won the last game, did have to pick his civilization first, giving Miggo the counter pick. So he selected Japan, which makes a lot of sense on a map like Baja, California. Japan's got, decent water options, decent cards to help their economy. Even if they're not going full water, they can still go a little bit of water with maybe a 3-boat card or like the 3 boats from the Portuguese consulate and stuff like that. It's also a very large map, which tends to favor Japan in general because it drags out the game a little bit longer, which Japan can't complain about. However, Miggo counterpicking with Russia, which is definitely a strong pick against Japan historically. Very difficult for Japan to deal with. The early mass that Russia can get. So we'll see how this turns out, but it's looking like a good pick for Miggo at the moment.
Yeah, it could be. Japan definitely struggled with that sort of early pressure. As we all know, if you want to deal with Japan, that is when you have to do it early on, and Russia quite good at dealing with that. Let's pause for a second. On the right-hand side of the map, Tabben playing as Japan, going to be putting down that early consulate there, is popped on 10. Those explorers going to have to build their shrine pretty soon, and I think they're going to be going for a Heavenly Kami one, a cheaper one by the looks of it. Let's take this over to shipments sent and see if that's the case. No, I think they're going all the way. Actually, we're going to see a fishing boat shipment, but thankfully, I think hopefully take a look at units in queue. No? Yeah, there is villages here, so Tabben's absolutely fine despite being housed, but I think actually...
This is a pretty standard thing for Japan, where you drop that consulate down, then you ally with the Portuguese, and after you've allied with the Portuguese, that gives your buildings 15%, they're just 15% cheaper, and so you wait until after you get that cheaper building, and then you construct your shrine. It ends up being roughly equivalent to constructing your shrine at the very beginning of the game, except that you don't have to walk your vills as much to gather wood and stuff like that. So, pretty normal stuff from him so far. You said he has a 3-boat shipment on the way. Makes a lot of sense, as Heavenly Kami would be pretty slow against the civilized Russia, which can apply a lot of pressure very, very fast.
Yeah.
And on top of that, these 3 boats will also help preserve his cherry orchards and berries a little bit, as they'll be gathering fish. So overall, just a pretty good shipment for him.
Yep, there they are. 3 fishing ships have arrived. Going to give him almost 3 villages worth of gather time. Not quite as good as villages, but Japan cannot Kami plane, something like that. Ha ha ha. But yeah, Miggo here looks like he's going to be going for the 17 villager age up. He's not got that age up in queue just yet. So I expect not something super aggressive, but given that he's against Japan, he is going to have to do something pressure-orientated. It's just not going to be a hyper-aggressive rush by the looks of it. So I'm interested to see what Miggo has in mind.
Yeah, nothing too unusual to speak of just yet. Looks like market going down for Miggo, as off of the back of a wood treasure, it looks like. Nice. So he will use that to bolster his economy a little bit in transition here. I imagine he will still send some forward villagers, however. Also worth noting that both players have a good number of warship shipments in their decks. Not a lot of water economic shipments, but they're definitely ready to fight on water if need be.
Yeah,
but I imagine that won't come into play for a little while longer.
two attacker moons, and in the colonial age they're two foons as well, so Japan definitely set up for that, and the European civ here. Russia, 1 frigate, 2 caravels as well, 9 Manchu in his deck. That's an interesting shipment. I like the look of that.
Oh, okay. It looks like Miggo's actually going to be going for... never mind. He was standing next to the trading post, but I guess he was just waiting for his crack shot to come back up so he get that 95 wood. He does have a couple of forward villagers out on the map. It looks like he was trying to avoid being scouted by walking around the side here, but does get spotted by Tabben's monk anyway. And yeah, he will be placing a pretty aggressive blockhouse. Tabben getting walled up in preparation for that.
Yeah, he sees it coming, he puts down his wall here. Alright, walls number 2 game. Hunker down for a long one, potentially. Well, actually, no, it's Russia, I suppose. But he's going to be building walls, and this is going to make it a little bit more difficult for Russia to do what he needs to do. And hopefully Japan can get to where he wants to do. Hopefully the wall can add that extra defense and pull him through into the longer game. Not too many shrines, though, Maito. Just a couple of shrines out on the map. I usually expect Russia to have... well, Japan to have more shrines than this, but I suppose he's spending quite a lot of wood on this wall.
Yeah, this wall is probably worth, worth slightly more than a shrine at this point, and it's building shrines is not super easy in transition as well. When you are not sending Heavenly Kami to make those shrines cheaper, and he's also probably wanting to save some wood for barracks and stuff like that as well. So. Shrining will be put on hold for the moment until he can ensure that he's stabilized against this Russian pressure as 5 Cossacks pops out of the blockhouse and attempt to apply some pressure to the fully walled up base. We'll see if there's actually some holes in the walls, but it looks like for the moment there are none.
No, it looks pretty good, actually, and deleted all the pillars. Can sometimes leave holes if you're not careful, but saved as much wood as he can, and looks like the wall is going to be absolutely fine. These 5 Cossacks aren't going to find anything to kill. Yeah, that's a completely solid wall. I thought around here this was a gap, but actually it's just the cliff. Doesn't look like he's going to find a way in, so nicely done from Miggo there. Pardon me, from Tabben there.
Gets 1 Cossack inside, but the rest
he's got
don't want to cooperate.
He's got to bug his way inside. Can he get that hussar out?
I think this is actually bad for him now, because this Cossack can't actually contribute to the fight. It's just going to get picked off. It's not like it's going to do any damage in there by himself. He is idling a few villagers in this town center, which, you know, is a decent trade, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess it's achieving something, a couple of idle villages, but is ultimately going to get picked off there. I think Russia are going to be a little bit disappointed with that. 5 Cossacks not finding their way in, and that shipment actually not going to be very effective at all. But Tabben, on the other hand, he's not exactly got many shrines. The pressure has done one thing, and that's slowing down the shrines. Ah, here's a trading post. That would be why there's not very many shrines, Maito. He's built, as the Japanese player, a trading post. And actually, the Cossacks will find something to do. With the musketeers here, they can siege that down.
Yeah, I didn't actually notice that either. Looks like behind this, though, Miggo has ceased unit production upon seeing that wall and will be going for the trading posts himself. Which will, you know, the stagecoach will help him keep up an economy with the Japanese shrines. He'll probably use his military units to siege down shrines as he finds them as well. And yeah, in the meantime, Tabben just content to do normal Japanese stuff, send 600 wood and 4 villagers, build shrines, get the vill count up, you know, grab those market upgrades, and he'll be sitting pretty happy for the next couple of minutes, at least until everything has been totally solidified.
Yep. I think, yeah, these hussars also, pardon me, Cossacks have also got other things to do. They can kill the shrines, but as you mentioned at the start of the game, this map very large and the shrines very far and widespread. They're going to be still something that he can take out, but going to have to run around the map for them. Let's take a look at what Tabben is doing then. So he's just sent, by the looks of it, villager shipment followed by a second villager shipment here. Really ecoing up, getting that economy going behind this wall where Tabben can't really get to him. Pardon me, where Miggo... I'm getting the players' names muddled up a lot, aren't I? Where Miggo can't actually get to him. What is Miggo doing then in response to this?
Looks like he's actually aging up, it looks like.
Okay. Seems good.
Yeah, and I think maybe Tabben has some indication this is happening, as he hasn't seen a lot of military units on the shrines. This is a really risky push because he hasn't really confirmed that this is happening, but he'll know in just a moment that that is the case. It's like one Cossack might go down to these Yumi. Not the end of the world for Miggo, and he doesn't quite have a shipment yet either, despite having 2 trading posts, a third one going down as well. But the threat of a shipment might be enough to force Tabben back. No, it's not. There's a reinforcing batch of Ashigaru, and Daimyo Motodata will be pushing onto this blockhouse, and we'll see what the shipment is. If it's a 2 Falconet shipment, I don't know if it's going to be safe enough to send from this blockhouse. What else does he have? He also has possibly 20 Strelets or 5 Cavalry Archers, neither of which is probably super safe in this situation, but we'll see nonetheless. Maybe this blockhouse will go down before it even arrives.
Yeah, I don't think whatever it is, it will be coming to this blockhouse. There's just so many units there now, right?
Yeah, it's very risky.
So, forward blockhouse is going to come down. Looks like they're the Cossacks. I thought they were coming in to do something. Wow, lots of damage coming from those Yumis. Not too good for Miggo there. He has got the full trading route, though, with Stagecoach, so that's reasonable. But
and he does have Falconets out now as well. However, no units really to defend them. Sorry.
Yeah, he's got like what, 3 musketeers? Yeah, there they are.
Yeah, and
John,
he only
Joe,
has a
and Jerry.
stable up at the moment as well, so it'll be pretty difficult for him to get a lot of units out to defend them. So it looks like this middle TP at least will go down. Thankfully, the other 2 are very far away from Tabben's army, so they're probably safe for the moment. And there's a blockhouse being constructed now as well, but this is still a very precarious situation for Miggo. Another 10 reinforcing Ashigaru being made at home, so Tabben has no interest in aging at the moment. Which makes a lot of sense, seeing as how he has to send orchards as his next shipment, so you typically don't want to age when you have to send a shipment from the colonial age. That's also not going to give you any more military strength, so he'll have to wait until he sends that before he considers something like aging up.
Yeah. He's just sitting here in the middle of the map. I feel like Miggo's a little bit vulnerable, right? Those 2 heavy cannons, 2 falconets, definitely gonna let him take out shrines and are very good against infantry, but there's a lot of infantry, right? Like, there's quite a lot of Japanese units here. I feel like he could just waltz on in there and take them down, especially since...
Yeah, well, it looks like he might be going for some kind of flank with these Ashigaru. So he's just gonna... It looks like that's the case. A couple of Yamabushi gonna walk up and scout the army, to try and confirm exactly how large it is. And yeah, here we go. They're coming in for the flank. There's a 20 Strelet shipment coming from behind this that are going to spot the Ashigaru. Might give the cannons an opportunity to escape or to set up to try and defend this, but this is going to be tough to defend as the Ashigaru walk in there onto the cavalry. Yumi archers coming in from the other side along with Daimyo Motodata onto the cannons. Then they are going to go down, and Miggo's going to have to try and get out there, and that's a large part of the danger now alleviated for Japan, as Falconets are one of the only weaknesses that they have in fighting against a Fortress Age army while in the Colonial Age themselves. And yeah, I think behind this, Tabben is totally fine.
I don't think the Strelets, I mean, yeah, okay, they counter heavy infantry like the Musketeers here, but there's so many of them, and they've got that extra speed, and they've got Daimyo Mochitada giving them a bonus as well. And I just, cavalry archers aren't really a threat. There just aren't enough Strelets. Okay, we see an artillery foundry going down here. Miggo adding that in. I suppose he's going to train more artillery. Is he going to send 1,000 gold? I feel like that's going to be his next shipment. That makes sense. I guess that's, if you take a look at his deck, one of the only things that is going to be quite good against all of this infantry is training falconets there. Yeah, there's the 1,000 gold. But, it's been
exactly
scouted.
Right.
Looks like he's going to take down this foundry. He's getting into position there.
Yep, and Minutemen have been called as well. Still no more Strelets in queue. There is a Falconet in queue. No veteran upgrades for the Strelets either. So he has to sort of hold this artillery foundry somehow without allowing it to get surrounded or anything like that before the 2 Falconets in queue can pop out. But it's looking like that's not going to be easy to do. This Ashigaru are now past the stable.
There,
Four Falconets.
4 Falconets. That's really good here. And okay, they're going to try and get into hand combat, but I think there's enough cavalry archers here and falconets in general, that, yeah, he's going to be able to deal with this infantry reasonably effectively and keep these falconets alive. Okay, Miggo back in the game here. 2 falconets he sent earlier, not overly effective. Blue dealt with them very, very nicely. Well done from Tabben here, but now he's up against 4 falconets that are a result of the coin shipment, and plenty of cavalry archers here to protect them as well. So Japan, it's on him to deal with that. He's training some Naginata from his stable. A couple of Ashigarus coming around the back here to raid, exactly what he should be doing, since of course the cavalry archer is going to be wanting to stay with those falconets here. Let's see if he can find any units to kill. Doesn't look like he's going to be going too far into the base there. Most of the villagers here clustered around these blockhouses. Miggo being careful to keep them away from those ashes, I think, there. But going to clean up this trading post in the middle of the map with his army. Whilst he's there, he can rebuild it. Has got stagecoach after all, and then can push forward. I wonder how Japan deals with this here, right? Russia's done. He's got cavalry archers. He's got quite a nice army there to defend the falconets with. I think flaming arrows might be the answer.
Yeah, but unfortunately, he's only in the colonial age.
Oh, you're right. Okay, you can't send them. You can't send them in the colonial age.
You certainly can't. And you know, he lost his whole army, and then behind that he had to send cherry orchards. So he hasn't been able to really reconstruct his army. As a result of that, he has reconstructed part of it now at this point that the orchards were finally established and could gather from them. But he's probably going to be losing this wonder, perhaps another. Maybe the consulate or market and the shrine as well behind this, and before he can really even think about contesting this.
Yeah, and not going to be aging at all. Just going to be having to mass. Going to have to deal with these the old-fashioned way. Just going to have to make an army of infantry. I guess he can try and get a couple of. He's got a few Naganatas in the back there. Looks like he's coming to get into position. Cavalry archers. The one thing they can't do very well is body block. Right? They're only good. At once they're not like pikemen or halberdiers that are really good at dealing damage up close and personal here. And it looks like Tabben is going to be able to deal with these falconets just with their infantry on the front there going down. And now using the Naganatas to snare the archers in place. So that more falcons in the back there. Will it be enough though? I don't know. I feel like
I don't think it is. It's really hard to say actually. The Nagi are still up. Looks like they will get onto that last falconet. It looks like this fight is going to go the way of Miggo, but losing those falconets will alleviate a lot of the pressure. There's some reinforcing units coming. Actually, it looks like the last falconet is actually going to survive. So behind this, I think Miggo has maybe actually won. There's 10 Ashi that have reinforced from, back at the 2 barracks, but aside from that, there's not a lot here. Tabben doesn't really have any gold or anything like that. His villagers are sitting next to the gold mine but not using it. He has Yumi in queue now to try and deal with these cavalry archers, but it's gonna be challenging, and he's already invested into Ashigaru attack instead of Yumi archer attack, so the Yumis will not be as strong as maybe he would like them to be in this situation.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Miggo, not a whole lot of siege with this army aside from the 1 falconet, so this push will be pretty slow. Maybe Tabben still has some way of getting back into this game.
Oh, is he going to get a volley on the archers? Yes, he does get one there. A couple of strelets walking in. Yes, okay, not a lot of siege out of the Russian army except that 1 falconet, and it's very low HP, so it can't get close to that town centre, because if it does, Miggo is going to be met by a town centre with villagers in it that's going to be targeting his only falconet, and it won't take long for it to go down.
Oh, the clubman.
Ooh, Yambushi coming in strong, I think. Yeah, they're gonna get it down. Nicely done, kamikazeing in there. Are going to pick up the cannon, and now Russia, not really a lot left in terms of siege. And look at that economy for Japan, 68 villager recalculated population. Behind this, he's going to be able to train lots of units, and now that the cannons are down, should be alright. Let's take a look back home, though. There are more falconets in production for Miggo. That's coin mine being worked away on by quite a number of villagers to get the required monies for these falconets.
Yeah, we do have to remember as well that this economic gap is slightly mitigated by these trading posts that don't show up on that economic population. The economy is maybe very slightly in favor of Japan. However, Russia has a tech advantage, so he's okay. Here come the Manchu, which will help defend any additional falconets that he trains. He's got 3 in queue at the moment. We'll see if he manages to get a 3rd. If he can get a 3rd out before Tabben can really remass, he might still have a really good chance to break down the main base. Looks like for the moment, though, the Japanese army will be moving to the southern side of this map to clean up one of these trading posts.
Yeah, seems like that's where they're going to be. Force Miggo to come down here and do something, perhaps. Certainly, though, working on the stagecoach is definitely a good idea, as Maito pointed out. That's what's keeping Miggo's economy up at the moment. And it seems like a good opportunity for Tabben to build this himself, expand his economic position. But looks like Miggo just going to push forward. They're going to ignore that trading post for the moment. He's got 2 falconets out. And remember, Manchu here, very, very strong. So is going to be able to deal with any kind of cavalry threat here. And now has the renewed siege, I suppose, to do some meaningful damage. Looks like Blue having to come home here. Lots of Yumis, lots of Ashis.
Yep, and this is a really risky position for Miggo to be in, though. Despite how strong this army is, being right up inside the base means that he is susceptible to getting flanked, and he knows that the army is behind him, so this is risky. However, it is a way to force a fight if you really wanted to. Here comes the Enlist Irregulars card, though.
Yeah, being called. They're going to get some extra Minutemen and Sentries out. Looks like they're going to take down one of the Falconets there. Hand combat coming in strong, and the other one prime and ready for the taking. They're going to go into hand combat versus that. Falconet dealt with 3 times now. And Tabben back. Ball is in his court.
But there's more Falks.
Can he deal with it a 4th time? Oh, wow.
It's the war of attrition here. You just got to keep pouring Falks at him until he messes up one time, and then you win.
Well, the one thing that's for sure is Tabben's spending a lot more resources than Miggo is on these fights.
True.
Because he has to deal with these Falconets. And he's not going to be getting up to the Fortress Age anytime soon. So as long as Russia can keep doing this, perhaps it doesn't matter too much about his economic position, since, you know, Japan just has to keep pouring units in. Having said that, though, no, he's going to have to get back. Doesn't want
more
to deal with those
Falconets on the
cannons.
way from that artillery foundry as well, so there's going to be a total of 4. But again, just no additional units to defend this. 1,000 wood coming in for Miggo will help him maybe set up his economy in other ways, maybe with town centers and stuff like that. Perhaps you'll finally manage to afford veteran strelets or something.
Yeah, finally. Oh dear. Okay, he's got a lot of cannons, but basically nothing to protect them. And before we were saying, you know, Naginata's not going to be overly effective since there were so many cavalry archers here, but now nothing
yeah,
really.
he has...
I guess a good batch of 5 or 10 Naginata coming in at the same time as all of these Yumis will actually be very, very strong and should be able to deal with this.
Yeah, and he has 6 Nagis in queue at the moment, and it looks like he's going to total that out to a total of 10. And it's going to be... I think this is going to be the end of these Falconets.
Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of Nagis on top of them there. The Yumi just waiting patiently in the back. They don't want to be volleyed one more time. And once the cannons have gone down, they can come in here again and just pick off the remaining Russian units. But yeah, the Falconets... Oh, another volley! God, they're going down like bowling balls running into Skittles. Or God. Okay, so the score's actually really close despite all of that. Cannon's certainly good. Falconet's really, really strong, but only if you can defend them.
Yeah, he was definitely getting ahead of himself a little bit. Looks like he trained some petards to kill these shrines. Few of them dying.
Look at this.
That's not a very efficient trade. Looks like the villagers just happily embracing those Russian settlers, liberating them from the tyrant that is Miggo.
Looks like they were really scared. I wonder, why is he leaving? I guess he's worried that Green's going to be down there?
Perhaps, yeah.
Or maybe he wants to retask them to something else. I don't know. But Naginata on top of these Russian villagers in the top. Couple of cavalry archers coming in to push this away. But I think...
And, see, it looks like there are more Falconets out now. But again, just nothing to really defend them. There's 4 cavalry archers and 10 strelets. Now... 5 Oprichniks will help clear up these shrines as well, but he should be really careful about revealing these Falconets just because he doesn't know what Tabben's army consists of, and if he's playing his hand kind of by showing these, and not a lot of units to defend them. It's certainly a risk, but maybe he feels like he's not done enough damage, and so he needs to take this risk if he wants to stay in the game. Few shrines will be going down. Tabben not responding at the moment, content to continue massing up. But with the shrines falling, it's actually going to be pretty hard to continue massing. We can see he's actually overpopped right now as a result of that. So he might consider aging up. There is a 600 gold shipment on the floor, and it looks like that is going to be exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, going up to the Fortress Age. I guess losing all that population, it's going to be a while before you can start spending it on units again. You have to rebuild all the shrines, so it certainly makes sense to go up to the next age here. But Falconets, if they're good at anything, especially with the Frnehcs helping them, is taking down buildings. So it's going to clean up all these shrines on the top here. I'm really surprised that Miggo's score is not that bad. It's not too far behind Tabben's. I think Tabben is taking a bit more of a lead now than before, but Miggo keeping up with this Japanese economy, which is quite surprising, I'd say. I guess Stagecoach really helps a lot, and Falconets are quite tough to deal with, as we've been saying, but go on.
Yeah, like Tabben's just been taking like really awkward trades for most of this game to deal with those Falconets. And, you know, behind this, he's had to send cherry orchards twice and stuff like that. That's a total of 1,400 resources invested in terms of shipment value into something that doesn't really improve your economy. It doesn't improve your military. It doesn't give you any immediate bonus. So, like, those are very slow shipments that Japan is forced to send. Oh, these Charlettes stepping out of position, getting picked up. But, yeah, also cleaning up those shrines was very important for Miggo in another way as well, because he has to continue gathering resources somehow, right? And all these shrines being on the right side of the map had just denied him all these resources because, well, for one thing, you can't even gather from hunts if they're shrined up, and another thing is that it gives him vision over these gold mines and stuff like that, so he would find any settlers that could be there.
Yeah, town center going up in this location, so gonna settle down and quite literally with the town, gonna build a new one.
Yep, and no shipment yet for Tabben upon reaching Fortress Age, so not going to be any flaming arrows or anything just yet. Sorry, what was your point?
Not really a point. I was just saying we're watching civilization grow in this resource-rich region. It feels like real-life simulator here. Town center going down, but there's one thing a bit more interesting going on down in the bottom there. Cannons getting a nice volley. Thing is, though, the archer is very strong against the cavalry archers here. Cannons creeping forward there. Lots of melee infantry here. Third cannon coming in. I think, though, this is not enough. Oh, it's so difficult to defend Falconets with cavalry archers.
Yeah, I think he might be over-investing a little bit into these Falconets. And just, like, playing so aggressively with them. That's 4 Falcons that have just died for definitely not an equivalent value worth of Yumi. 1 frigate coming out for... Wait, he's on the water?
Oh! When did that happen?
Apparently a couple minutes ago. We didn't notice that.
Yeah.
So that is another way he's going to be trying to contest this economy, but that's a really large investment, and behind this he's not got a lot of reinforcing units coming. Look at Tabben's bank right now. 3,200 food. So he could be thinking about going up to the industrial age pretty soon if he really wants to. So yeah, this is looking like a really tough position for Russia now as well. However, Tabben doesn't play this as quickly as it seems like he's not going to be playing. Well, that's not a very eloquent sentence. If I was going to say, if Tabben's not applying enough pressure, this could be a little bit of a problem later in the game. Russia does have some decent scaling, like into late game, for sure. He doesn't have a lot of economic like cards, but either way, like Russia still has very strong and efficient units late game. Not population efficient, but definitely efficient for their cost. So if they do manage to get to that point, it won't be impossible for Miggo. Yumi raiding underneath this town center.
Yeah. Oh dear. But catching up in... Well, actually, I don't know. Still, his opponent 30 villages up in terms of economic unit population. But these fishing ships certainly making a bit of a difference for Russia. Remember, he has that stagecoach working away. But could be difficult to really get rolling into the late game, as Maito mentions, for that Russian scaling. Because Japan, keeping the pressure up over this side of the map, going to take down this town center. And with it, all of these resources, this map control that it's representing will disappear as well.
Yep, looks like there's some more Falconets out, so we will be trying to use those to defend this. Minutemen throwing into melee mode just to try and snare the units to prevent them from getting to melee quite as quickly, but no, they'll be getting onto the cannons pretty easily.
That's the issue, right? Like, Miggo made so many cannons this game, and they're really, really good, but cavalry archers just aren't great at defending them.
Yeah, they're certainly not. Like, cannons, like, as you said, they're fantastic units, but they're really immobile, so they can't exactly kite, and if you don't have a lot of units to defend them, then that immobility becomes crippling. So, he lost probably the last, like, 8 to 10 falconets that he's trained, he lost for, in exchange for units that were significantly less value than the falconets themselves, so...
Yeah. That is going to end game number 2 here. Tabben picking up his second victory. A nice attempt from Miggo, though. He really kept that game going a lot longer than I thought he would be able to do so. That sort of mid-game period where maybe I think it was the the first, second, and third falconet push, or batches of falconets, you know, they were quite convincing. Tabben spent a lot of resources to deal with them, and it looked like Russia had a really good opportunity there and wasn't too far behind his opponent in terms of economy because of the fact that the falconet trades were going so well. But as he sort of ran out of resources, was ramping up so much production into falconets, he fell behind in other types of units and just wasn't able to defend them. They got picked off reasonably easily, and then Tabben eventually found himself in the Fortress Age, managed to get his upgrades, and then here you can see this is clearly going to win this fight, and then this town center goes down, so does the trading posts nearby, and Miggo completely runs out of maps and has to move on to mills and plantations, which is expensive. He's already started doing it, but ultimately that is going to be the end of this game. Tabben picking up game number 2 in the series.
It just feels like every single time that I have to, like, start speaking, it's like I either have to sneeze or like I'm just like so stuffed up, like speaking just sounds like really dumb.
Yeah. Alright, Tabben has a big deck, and he says in the chat there.
Ha ha ha.
Taunt 21, absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sunday SmackDown. This is game number 3 in a best of 7 series between... I don't know why I did that. I have no idea why I did that. Tabben versus Miggo. Looks like we're going to have, appropriately, an Indian mirror.
Potentially. Miggo can still change. Tabben does have to pick first. Okay, China. Does make a lot of sense. I want to talk about it more, but I have to sneeze. Okay, not gonna be China. Actually, Dutch, which is kind of interesting on Deccan. Because you get so many resources at the start of the game, you start aging very quickly. You don't get your shipment super early, so... it can be a little bit hard to get those banks down early without slowing down your age up or getting all of your shipments in at good times. So definitely an interesting pick from him. However, you do have gold mines inside your base. Big 5k gold mines that will be very nice for Dutch. And Skirmisher is definitely very good at dealing with sepoys and stuff like that, which is definitely something that Tabben has been known to make a lot of with India.
Alright, let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, let's begin. Not an Indian mirror after all. Looks like Miggo wants to make use of the fact that he can select after Tabben, since of course Tabben lost the previous game. He has to select first. Selected India, and Miggo will go with the Dutch in response. Spawning on the bottom of the map in the colour... Oh, not the bottom, the left-hand side of the map. We do indeed have... I know how Deccan spawns. Tabben playing as India here. Lots of extra crates, as that is what this map does, I suppose. Elephants, one going straight onto the plateau to find the yaks, does indeed pick up the first 2 there. In fact, both elephants going to make their way onto the plateau, 2 more yaks up here, and some down the bottom there. So Tabben, I think, going to get ahead in terms of yaks, but his opponent there going to pick up 50 coin. And possibly Miggo, maybe just going for that treasure since it was nearby, wants to get his crack shot going, but then could go onto the plateau. Or, more likely, looks like he's actually going to head on over to this trading post, since of course you do get all those extra resources on Deccan, is going to be able to put that down, and is going to get a nice extra XP curve. India, though, going for the yaks first. What do you think of that then? A lot of the time people will just go straight for that trading post at the start of the game, but actually on a map like Deccan, maybe it is worth not going for it immediately, and okay, sure, you might miss the first pass, but he's just gotten all the yaks. Look, he's got 6 yaks. Could have 8. Miggo thankfully found 2, but could well have been all of them, since, look, Miggo's gone for that trading post right away, and with those 2 elephants, managed to pick them up really, really quickly.
Yeah, and that's definitely going to be a nice pickup for him. I'm a bit interested in what Tabben's game plan is, actually, because he built a market and a trading post. And he hasn't gotten any text from the market yet. Looks like Hunting Eagles is about to finish. But, the market definitely not going to pay off before he starts to age up. So he's just going to be playing this very, very slowly for the time being. Not going to be playing super aggressively, it looks like. Which is definitely interesting in this matchup, because I feel like pressure could be quite good against Dutch, but he might have something else in mind. Maybe he wants to play a little bit outside of the box to sort of throw Miko off, keep him guessing. Did I just call him Miko? I meant Migo.
I'll call him Miko. Let's call him Miko for the rest of the game.
All right, Mr. Miko, what is he up to? He is aging.
Miko is like a Korean lady's name, I think. So I'm just picturing that at the moment. But I want to ask you a quick question. Before we get to the colonial age, both players are aging up now. Let's take a look at Migo's politician. This is SmackDown patch after all. Quartermaster going to play with the normal politicians here. He's playing as the Dutch, but elected to go for that trading post and a market at the beginning here. How come he didn't want a bank then? I feel often, Dutch wants to make use of the bank wagon. Or, pardon me, not wagon, but bank. Elected not to do that.
Well, I suppose it would just slow you down a lot in the early game. Like, if you build a bank before you start aging, you're going to be spending... the wood cost, not a big deal on Deccan, but the food cost, 350 food,
yes, you're right.
Definitely going to be slowing you down. And trading posts, are definitely quite good in the early game. So if you can get one for free, it definitely helps. Market also can help compensate. So, converting the XP into shipments early on will probably generate, maybe the same or even more resources than that bank would, even though the bank does give you a lot of XP as well, but that's only a one-time thing. And the market, of course, is also good to have. And it looks like he is going to get his bank down just as he ages up, is going to have a shipment ready thanks to that trading post. So either way, his build order is actually looking pretty smooth.
Yeah, actually it looks really good, because as Dutch you want to be sending that shipment as soon as you age up, and on Deccan you can age up quite quickly, and as Dutch you can age up quite quickly, so makes sense to build the trading post. Make sure you have that first shipment available once you hit the colonial age, and yes, building a bank in the discovery age, probably not good for the reasons you pointed out, very food costly, so to speak. But Tabben, he's going with the Carni Martyr in base here. Looks like it's going to be a bit more of an eco build. He's not going to be building that aggro fort, not going to be playing aggressive in the middle of the map or indeed at home with it. Going to go for that economic boost here. Going to add in a second trading post there, and going to sit at home nice with his yaks and get his upgrades. Going to be feeling pretty good.
So something that Tabben's been known for doing, and something that India players in general have been doing a lot of recently, is going for this sort of fast industrial type of play where you build a lot of sepoy and a lot of uromi. And it seems like that might be what Tabben has in mind at the moment. It looks like the Envoy just scouting out the base, spotting the Carnimata and all this stuff, so we will know that aggression is not coming. But I was going to say that in this matchup, Dutch can't apply a lot of pressure early. They've got to invest into these banks, or else it becomes very difficult to drop 700 resources into the banks later on. So he's got a lot of time to really get away with, constructing these TPs, getting, maybe something like Stagecoach, going up to the Fortress Age, and maybe even the Industrial Age. So he's not going to fall behind in eco as a result of these trading posts, but he is maybe going to have a lot stronger units if he can age up sometime in the next couple of minutes, and then maybe up into the Industrial Age before Dutch has sort of fully gotten everything set up. So we'll have to see how that plays out, but I'm interested to see if that is what he has in mind.
Yeah, at the moment, very economically driven, this build. Distributivism followed by foreign loggings. Getting imperial bureaucracy now. Has 3 trading posts, and I think the rickshaw hasn't quite been up. No, is that the upgraded guy? I can never tell. I never remember. No, that's the upgraded guy. Yes, yeah, he has an actual
now it is upgraded.
Yeah, he's got a horse. That's definitely quicker. Except he's not riding it, which is... I don't know how it's quicker. He should be on the horse, but never mind. That's not the important thing here. Dutch will be sending 700 wood. He gets his 4 banks down, and followed by a wagon as well. But 8 pikemen now on the board. I really like this from Miggo. These are going to be... He knows India is playing economically. He's probably scouted the Carni Martyr there. He can certainly see the trading posts, and the pikemen, very good siege. They're going to help bring these down quickly.
Yep, they certainly are. So that's going to help him quite a bit. It's going to be hurting Tabben a little bit. He doesn't have any units out to defend that just yet, although he does have Gurkha in queue. It's like a caravanserai going down for Tabben as well as the consulate. And it doesn't look like he has any sort of machinations of aging or anything like that just yet. Just going to train the Gurkha to try and defend these trading posts. Looks like Miggo will be picking one up for himself on the south side of the map, which will be very nice for him. And we'll see if the Gurkha manage to get there in time to defend this this trading post. It will be pretty close, I think. It looks like they probably will get there in time. And behind this, actually, Miggo is actually aging. He's almost up to the fortress age. So
he's aging
he's
up.
Actually,
pardon me, not Tabben. Yeah, Miggo. Okay, going up to fortress. That's where Dutch wants to be. He's managed to get up there. It's not like there was any pressure stopping him. Still sent 8 pikes, which you'd usually think of as sort of a victory if you force your opponent to send the pikemen here. So I suppose that's good for Tabben, but actually they are taking out these outposts. Really, is he just going to commit to taking this down? I guess they're actually not overly useful once he gets up to the next stage. So really the focus here is bring. That seems like an interesting trade. Normally I wouldn't want to just let Gurkha shoot at me like that, but actually to trade it off for that trading post seems quite reasonable.
Yeah, that's going to be, you know, a couple of passes missed for him, which will probably equate to a couple hundred resources, and you've got to invest 200 resources into reconstructing it as well. So, yeah, it actually seems like a pretty reasonable trade. He managed to kill both of the monks as well, so that will actually delay it a little bit longer. So, in total, he probably traded those 8 pikemen off for maybe 500 or 600 resources or more if Tabben doesn't rebuild it in the next few minutes here. So
yeah,
it's definitely
and he managed to get the trading post on the bottom of the map. He killed that too and built it for himself. And okay, these monks are nearby and there's a Sawar next to them, so they're waiting for them to get back up, when they come back to life, rebuild the trading post. But if Miggo might have the opportunity to build him himself, but let's take a look at this fight in the base here. Gurkha and Sawar pushing forward. That Explorer does look like it's going to go down. He's going to deny that stable being constructed. There is a barracks here. Let's take a look at units in queue and see if anything will pop from it. 3 skirmishers on the way. There's a lot of units here. He's going to need his Minutemen. He's going to need that batch of shipments that he gets from the barracks and also the ship. Did I say shipment? Well, anyway, we know what we mean. 3 different things. Minutemen coming now. Has he got the shipment on the way? He's going to need it. I imagine we'll see Reuters come.
Well, he did send 1,000 wood, and Tabben did spot the 1,000 wood, which is maybe why he's committing so hard to this. I don't actually know if Miggo has another shipment available. I think he might not, and this is just a lot of units. If he doesn't have a shipment available right now, I don't know if he can actually defend this.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal. There's a lot of things here. Did he get his... Okay,
he does have arrived. They've arrived. They're not going to be super useful with these Gurkha there. However, they might be able to defend any skirmishers that train from this barracks in the next couple of minutes. Here we go. So he'll be able to trade off those skirmishers at least for a couple of Reuters and stuff like that. Or, I mean, for a couple of Sowars.
Yeah, but it's looking pretty bad, right? Like, losing those skirmishers. It is looking pretty tough. Reuters met by some Sawars, snaring them in position. Gurkha going to come forward. The snare is on. Gurkha are going to be able to shoot. They're not quite in range just yet, but either way, he's taking damage from all these cavalry. Changing direction even more. Yeah, the Reuters are toast. That's just no good.
However, having chased these Reuters all the way down to the south side of the map, he's allowed Miggo to begin gathering resources again. Some of those villagers have escaped to the northern side of the space where they might be a little bit safer. And he's got a couple of units out now. Another shipment on the way. It's going to be the 8 skirmishers. And there's not a whole lot of cavalry here. So he actually might be able to defend this. However, behind this, Tabben is aging up. So he's not fully committed to like winning the game off of this push or anything like that. So even if it goes south, he'll be alright. Another batch of Reuters coming out to help deal with this cavalry.
Yeah. I think even though he's aging up, he's got enough army here to deal with the Dutch player. Dutch playing very slow this game. 1,000 wood definitely slow card. But,
yeah, he's still sitting on 700 of that wood right now, so definitely wasn't able to trade it off quite as, or to use it quite as effectively as he would have liked. If that had been military units, this would have been a completely different push. But it looks like he is finally going to clean up the units in his base, might be able to begin spending that wood on stuff like a 5th bank, on some more market upgrades. He has placer mines on the way right now, and perhaps a couple more military buildings. Meanwhile, on the south side of the map, though, Tabben has reconstructed that trading post, and as we've already mentioned, he is almost up to the Fortress Age, and he will be up with the Charminar Gate, which will give him access to those Mansabdars, which do give you those 10% HP and hit points, or HP and hit points, HP and attack damage auras, which will make his army quite a bit stronger.
Yeah. Fortress Age achieved. But it does give Miggo a bit of breathing room there. Tabben, he could have really made that push if he'd stayed Age 2, really added some more units. Miggo, he could have done a lot of damage to him, but has given him a breath by going up to the Fortress Age here, and looks like Dutch has managed to get those resources out. Let's see if he can spend down that wood. Looks like Howder coming in strong. Not too many Reuters here left to deal with it. Getting good trade on the skirmishers. Still alive. Wow, this elephant.
Yeah, he's quite tanky. He is going to fall to that last Reuter volley, but not before trading himself off for most of these units. There is a slight skirmisher advantage for Miggo in this fight, but with those monks walking in, he's going to be forced to retreat. And yeah, behind this, it looks like the economy is slightly in favor of Tabben, with that extra trading post over Miggo and the couple of extra villagers. Does Miggo have a 5th bank? He is constructing his 5th bank now, so that'll help him catch up a little bit. So yeah, behind this, you know, it's looking... Yeah, behind this, it's looking a little bit close. There's still a lot of resources inside the Indian base, so he's not going to be too concerned about natural resources running out or anything for the time being. Looks like an Ermi shipment on the way as well. But yeah, it's looking like Miggo definitely still has chances of winning, despite how much damage he did take.
Yeah, it felt like Tabben did so much damage early on. I'm surprised Miggo is in this position. But actually, he's doing alright. He's in the south here. He's going to take out this trading post again. Let's see if he can get that down before the Indian player can arrive with his units. But needs to be careful. Urumi are out now. They're very strong, very scary. You've seen them. A couple of volleys there. Yeah, just going to get away. Going to leave the trading post. Only has 44 HP. But Tabben coming around to the side with the Zambaraks there in the Gurkha, but more green units being added in. A couple of Reuters going to get picked off as they walk through, but batch of reinforcing skirmishers, a couple there from each barracks coming as well. Let's take a look. The Urumi reasonably well dealt with here. Doesn't look like too many casualties from the Urumi there.
Yeah, Miggo's done a really good job of splitting up his skirmishers to avoid the area damage. So he's actually doing quite well in this fight, all things considered. However, there's a really big batch of reinforcing Gurkhas behind this, and you know, there's still a couple of Ermi that he has to clean up, which is going to soak up a lot of damage here. So it looks like Tabben going to be getting the better end of this fight for sure. And behind this, I don't know that Miggo really has enough to remass to deal with this Gurkha mass. He's already sent 8 and 7 skirmishers, so he's only going to have these batches of 10 skirms coming from these Raxes. And yeah, as a result of losing this fight, he is going to actually call GG.
GG. I just was talking about how I was surprised Miggo was doing so well, but off the back of one Urumi shipment, yeah, I suppose India had quite a good opportunity to go up to the Fortress Age, and then Urumi very, very strong.
Yeah, and that's going to put Tabben at 3-0 in the series so far. They've been very interesting games, very close games up until this point, but Miggo definitely needs to make them a little bit less in Tabben's favor if he wants to have a chance of getting back into this series. So we'll see. They gotta
be less close. They gotta be one-sided. Miggo's
one-sided for Miggo. Yeah.
All right. Let's see if he can do it.
He does still have a counter pick. This is winner picks first, so he will get the counter pick in this potentially final game, which might give him a chance to get back into the game or series rather. So we'll see.
We shall see.
Tabben might be running out of civilizations.
Let's head on out.
You've had good calls this series, though. Like, you predicted the 1,000 gold shipment and stuff like that, for example. Like, you've been casting totally fine, I think. So, don't get too, whatever the word is.
Don't get too whatever the word is. That's the story of my commentary today. It's like, maybe it's on, I can, fuck, I'm doing it now, right? It's like, I want to say a thing, but I can't say it. It won't come out my mouth.
You can't find the way to say it. You can only picture it.
Yep.
Got to figure out how to cast, like, telepathically, so everyone can just, like, see the stream of your thoughts and then, like, random stuff will pop in, like, what am I going to eat for dinner tonight? Continue casting.
Whilst I'm casting. Yeah. The chat will be like, no, I want egg fried rice, damn it. I want to think about Age of Empires 3. What are you having for dinner tonight?
I haven't decided yet. I'm thinking about making a really bad decision and going to get like fried chicken somewhere or something. But that's expensive and unhealthy, so I don't know if that's a good idea.
Well, I had egg fried rice. Buy a rice cooker, man. It's like the best thing.
I have one, actually.
Oh, why aren't you using it? You don't need fried chicken. You just put the rice cooker on. They're great. Like, I really don't like pasta. Well, I like pasta, but I hate cooking it because what I want from my meal is I put it in the oven or I put it in the rice cooker and then I come back to it 20 minutes later and it's done, right? Pasta, you have to stand there and keep stirring it. How is it that something submerged in water can burn? It doesn't make any sense, but you can burn pasta on the bottom of the pan. It's like, what the fuck? But never mind. Looks like Tabben has selected Germany. That was his first pick. Since he is going first, he has to pick first, and now Miggo selects India in response. The next map will be High Plains. Ladies and gentlemen, this is match point. If Tabben wins this game, he takes the series. A clean sweep, perhaps. It is now on Miggo to stop that from happening. This could potentially be the final game. Here we go.
Certainly could, and this is an interesting matchup because I feel like it can go both ways. Traditionally, India is not very strong against semi-FF style of civs and build orders and that sort of thing, but India also has some good answers to German units like Ulans, Zambraks do pretty well. They can apply a lot of pressure early on to the sepoys. They can get map control very easily on a map like High Plains with the Agrifort, which could translate into a lot of trading posts, which, as we know, is quite good on High Plains. So I'm interested to see in how this plays out. But it definitely, I think the majority of people would say that it's probably better for Germany, but we'll see if Miggo has anything special planned.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm rooting for Miggo here. I don't want him to go down without a fight, so to speak. But it's looking tough already. Tabben, first shipment he comes across, first treasure he comes across is that native scout. So already going to be having that French bonus, so to speak. Really nice scouting potential, and because of this wood start, he's going to be able to slam down that trading post as well. So Crackshot is recharging, has this extra scout moving around the map. Germany normally a little bit hindered by the fact that they're not sure where to go next or where to scout because they only have that one scouting unit, especially when Travois coming in strong, gonna pick up that boost, picks up the scout, gets a bit of line of sight, knows where to go next, and gets the XP pass. Germany gonna be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, they definitely are. And this native scout treasure is something that I feel like is super underrated, especially at lower levels. But it kind of makes sense at the lower levels. You might not know exactly what to scout for. You might not know exactly how best to use it and stuff like that. But at higher levels, the scout is, I would argue, almost like the most valuable treasure you can get in a lot of games. So yeah. Tabben definitely got to be feeling really good about having that. He'll know for sure what Miggo is up to the entire game and how best to adapt to it and stuff like that.
Yeah, God, you're absolutely right. We were playing recently. Maito was sort of doing a little bit of coaching with me, and when you sort of know what to look for with the scout, especially on the Asian dynasties, when you can put it into the stealth mode, is such a valuable unit to have. France have got it so easy, and that scout definitely really, really valuable here. But India, 2 explorers, pretty good. He's all right as well. Picks himself up there. 80 wood. So going to be quite pleased with that treasure find. Definitely a good one as well. And Tabben, he's been pricking... Tabben, yeah, look, he's got really good coin treasures. Actually, 50 and 40 in base. And found 70 coin as well. Tabben rolling in coin.
Yeah, he certainly is. And looks like there's a forward villager out now for Miggo, so he's going to be going for a forward Agrifort. Does have the food to place it now and is going to be placing it next to the TP line and these resources.
Yeah, that's a really good spot. 2 hunts, a mine on the TP wagon. Pardon me, TP. This goes back to what I was saying to you briefly before we started. I'm just not finding the words today. And on this hill, so this is going to provide a little bit of sort of place for Gurkhas that are being trained to shoot from. Will make it difficult for India, for Germany. So actually a really nice position, this agrifort.
Yeah, it definitely is. And hasn't been scouted or anything just yet, but it looks like he's... or that Germany might scout it relatively soon. If he's not certain about what the wonder is, he can always just walk through the Indian base and see whether or not there is a wonder, but no, he is going to find the agrifort.
Yeah, he sees it.
And looks like behind this, Miggo going to be dropping a trading post in transition. We'll see if he goes for more than one. He does have his other monk positioned next to that other trading post, so it's definitely a possibility. And it looks like this native scout going to be applying a little bit of pressure to this villager as well, which might force it to run away or to fight. Regardless, as long as it's not constructing that wonder, that is a few seconds that Miggo will be slower in aging. And yeah, this is another advantage of the native scout because it actually does sort of reasonable damage in the Discovery Age to settlers. And yeah, he is actually going to be forcing that villager to run all the way home. Miggo is going to replace it with another villager. Or, okay, no, he's just going to be using it maybe to try and block the units from getting up to that villager and continuing to harass it. Now going to be getting onto the wonder and constructing that, or speeding that age up time up a little bit. And yeah, it looks like he is going to be going for a TP boom behind this.
2 trading posts so far and counting. Let's take a look at Tabben. He's about to hit up to the next stage. Let's see what politician he went with. By the looks of it, 400 wood on the floor. Nothing funky. This is SmackDown patch, but going to be playing the tried and true. Going to be playing the way he knows. And a little bit of a forward wall coming out here. So Tabben gearing up for perhaps something a little bit more aggressive. But from this agrifort, I don't think we're really going to be seeing too much because look at the map miter you pointed out earlier. Trading post number 1, 2, and now number 3 going down as well. So I think Miggo more preoccupied with sending shipments and building trading posts and perhaps ecoing up, and Tabben wasting perhaps some resources on this wooden wall in the front of his base here. So might not be as helpful as he was hoping, but either way, still, let's see what his first shipment is. 700 wood on the floor there, and has started with an early barracks.
Yep, and that's going to help him get some houses up, perhaps get a little bit of additional tech. He's got steel traps in queue now, building up houses, and he's actually got doppelsoldners in queue, which is interesting. It'll give him some siege damage to deal with these trading posts potentially, but I don't know how effective they would be against an Indian army. He does have sepoy in queue now, so he could maybe defend these pretty easily against doppelsoldners if he gets enough sepoy. They can, however, be a little bit dangerous if he doesn't quite have enough. Ulan's now in the base. Gonna get one villager, it looks like.
Oh, the weakened villager from earlier. Rip.
Yeah, it does go down. That's a nice pickup for Tabben. He will pay for it with one Ulan. Actually, really nice job there. Actually, Miggo actually split the damage onto the other Ulan when it got really low HP to sort of maximize the damage from that town center fire. Now, that other Ulan only has 1 HP, so any one of these settlers can pick it off with a single shot. There you go. And so that really helps maximize the effectiveness of this defense. So he cleans up both of those Ulans really, really easily. So that's a really nice trick that he did there. Looks like Stagecoach is in now as well. So his eco is looking quite strong. A few sepoy at home now to defend this new Ulan raid.
Yeah, more Ulans coming in, but as you mentioned, the sepoy gonna take. Oh, but still loses a villager. Oh no, that's no good.
He's been distracted by the doppelsoldners on this southern TP, which looks like it's actually going to go down as there's nothing nearby to really defend. And there's an 8 crossbow shipment out for Tabben now, along with a batch of 5 crossbows. And the Explorer also defending this northern TP on the top side, going to try and prevent those sepoy from sieging it down. So it looks like Tabben is actually going for a little bit of a different build order from what we might expect from Germans most of the time in a situation like this. Not going to be going for a semi-FF just yet.
No, gonna stay in the colonial age a bit longer. He's gotten the important shipments though, 700 wood and of course 3 settler wagons. but followed it up with 8 crossbowmen. Going to help out these Doppelsodners, which are going to be met by some Sepoy. This isn't too good, but, oh, he's just walking straight into them. I think, though, Miggo, yeah, he's going to see that, and, but there's crossbows nearby, remember. This looks pretty bad for Miggo. These Sepoy sort of out in the open, though the Doppelsodners, they look like they're going to go down. The Sepoy should be able to manage that, and then perhaps, oh, making use of the cover mode there. I think, though, the snare is no longer in effect, and can escape here, so not too bad. And I actually think Miggo getting a good trade on those melee units, taking out most of them and not really losing too many, and now the crossbowmen not going to be able to do too much damage as well. Looks like there is now a spare Ulan coming in, so to speak, and another one. So he's going to get snared after all. He's going to get caught here. So I think Miggo are going to lose those units, and Tabben are sort of going to even up that trade. So I think that fairly even there.
He did manage to pick up the 2 Ulans, though, with those 2 Sepoy, so... you know, Tabben maybe not microing that quite as efficiently as he could have, but Tabben actually now aging up behind this. You know, he's cleaned up some of Miggo's units, and he's cleaned up a couple of the trading posts as well. He's even got a small group of units down here just to make sure he doesn't rebuild it right away, but now going to be moving up to join in sieging this other TP. And he's got a military advantage while also aging, and, you know, Miggo... Once this TP falls on the southern side, it's not going to have a super big economic advantage either.
Yeah, this could be a little bit tough for him. Tabben behind this in the Fortress Age and has done what he needed to do, right? A couple of extra military units, those starting Doppelsodners, adding in a lot of siege and managing to trade them off for some Sepoy as well. He's done what he needed to do, which was contest the trade route a bit. He's going to take it down to just 2 on this route now, and is up in the Fortress Age, so we'll be seeing shipments coming out soon. Looks like that, as I mentioned, third one going to go down. Miggo coming in here with Sepoy and Gurkha, but too late, it has already gone down, and I think now, yeah, Tabben are going to get home. The crossbow's going to head back towards the town centre. The Ulans can stay out a bit longer, I think, since they can do a little bit of raiding, but crossbows want to rendezvous with whatever military unit shipment is sent, and of course the new units coming out of the barracks. There are 5 skirmishers on the board. I think, though, yeah, the skirmishers have found the crossbowmen here, so a little bit vulnerable. Let's see if Miggo can get a nice trade in, can clean these up before Tabben really gets rolling in the Fortress Age. But skirmishers, yeah, I think that is the extent of the retribution he will get. No, he's coming around the side here. Crossbowmen have stopped. Does manage to find them.
And there's a 10 Tiger Claw shipment that just came out for India, and Germany hasn't spotted that with Native Scout or anything like that. They might walk in line of sight of this wall. Actually, looks like the wall line of sight is not quite large enough to spot that. But this could be a scary timing for Tabben to try and hold. He's only got skirmishers at the moment. He just sent 1,000 wood as well, so he doesn't have a really big army, and the Tiger Claws are going to go to town here.
Yeah, 1,000 wood. He needed it, though, right? The only wood shipment he had was that 700 wood from earlier, and all of those houses have now been used up, the population being used. Looks like going to get a few villager kills here. Meanwhile, in the north, there's another fight, so 2 sort of battles happening at once. Back home, though, lots of villagers going down.
Wow, lots of settler wagons dying.
Yeah, but Miggo, he also lost a lot of villagers. Tabben had Ulans in his base, so I think actually it's fairly even in terms of raiding, but this pressure, Miggo being quite effective here.
Yeah, it's looking quite good for him. There's still a few Tiger Claws left. Only skirmishers on the board. I'm not sure if Tabben has a shipment on the way or not yet. It looks like he might not, but he almost has one. So these skirmishers are going to get cleaned up on the southern side of the base here. It looks like the northern side of the base is going to be cleaning up the Sepoy, however. And behind this, Tabben has also reconstructed his own trading post. So he is sort of keeping up in economy that way, though he is still slightly behind. He does have the tech advantage, though. Tiger Claws now onto the skirmishers. Going to be cleaning up a few of those. And there is a shipment now on the way. It's been on the way for a few seconds now, so it's maybe about 20 seconds away.
Yeah, 4 Sours coming out from
to defend this Rax, but we'll
India,
see.
Arriving at the Agra fort there, and then going to push forward. This is awkward. I mean, the shipment can arrive, but I think the Sours, they're going to catch it on the other side. Settler wagon's still pent up inside the base. That 1,000 wood really slowed Germany down, but I think he still absolutely had to send it. He just had no population room. And needed to get down the extra buildings as well. Has gone with the second barracks there. But shipment about to arrive. Villagers coming out as well to help fight at the same time. I think there's plenty. I think Miggo just waiting in the base for that shipment to arrive so he can pick it off as it arrives and not allow it to escape. But the villagers, yeah, they're coming out, trying to attack the Sawa. The Sawa need to go down. These are the things that are really going to make it difficult for whatever shipment arrives, since those can snare it. They have the speed to do that.
He's losing so many villagers to try and kill these off, though.
Yeah.
It is Jaeger shipment,
Oh,
actually.
wow. That's strong. Okay, but he's lost a lot of villagers, but the Sours are gone, so they're not going to threaten it. And I think Jaegers can hold for their own. They've got so much range resist there that the Gurkha, yeah, they don't want to fight it. Can get back to work. But let's take a look at the economy behind this.
5 So are coming in, though, to reinforce. I don't know if he'll commit to a fight here, but he has to know that Tabben can't possibly have any additional units coming behind this, as that shipment has just arrived, and he hasn't been gathering resources for a long time.
So just going to take it. A couple of Doppelsodners, though, did manage to get those out. They're going to be a little bit helpful in defending the Jaegers from those cavalry units, but can be easily picked off by Gurkha, and that's what he's doing there, focusing them down. The Jaegers kiting all the way back.
Oh, another settler wagon going down,
Brutal.
too.
Oh, the economy is so bad at this point for Tabben. He's got to be really sad.
It's looking very rough, yeah. And these trades, like, even if these trades are really bad for Miggo, he can afford to take them because he's got 2 trading posts behind this. He's up nearly 20 villagers as well. A camel attack coming in now, going to be making these reinforcing sowers all the more powerful, and they're going to be getting on to the Jaegers. Remember, they already have that Lancer-like multiplier against Jaegers, so they're going to be doing quite a lot of damage. And yeah, off the back of that, GG from Tabben.
Nicely
and it looks like
done.
Miggo does get himself back into the series.
Reverse sweep, potentially. It's on the table here. Score number 1 going down for Miggo. I'm really pleased for him. Gets a point on the board there, but looks like, despite a bit of a rough start, Germany taking out most of the trading posts that India tried to get on the route. He got the upgrade, tried to get all of them down. A little bit of a rough start there. Germany dealt with that very well, but Miggo coming in with the pressure in the Fortress Age. Germany never manages to stabilize. 1,000 wood a little bit slow, and as a result, Miggo picks up the victory.
Yeah, 1,000 wood was certainly very, very greedy. Like, imagine if that had been a unit shipment. He could have maybe managed to hold that pressure a lot more effectively than he did.
How do you... But the thing is, though, he just had maxed out, at that point, no more military. Pardon me, no more population. So it felt like he needed to send 1,000 wood.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. You gotta remember, like, he had this native scout, but he didn't really use it to try and spot the army. Like, it was kind of positioned sort of behind the forward base from Miggo, at least until these additional military buildings popped out. So he didn't really see the push coming, didn't spot the tiger claws or anything like that. So he didn't make as effective use of this native scout as maybe he could have. And, as a result, like, maybe he had to commit to, like, chopping wood for houses instead of sending 1,000 wood. Like, you can see how poorly it worked out for him. Yeah. And like this has sort of been the case throughout the last couple of games. I thought maybe it was 3 games, but just thinking about it, it's probably only 2 games. Last game, this happened to Miggo, where he sent 1,000 wood, and as a result was crushed by a timing underneath his town center. So you definitely have to be careful about these things.
Let's take a quick look at these graphs. Miggo, far and away the most resources there. Let's take a look at those timeline. But actually, Tabben was ahead most of the game until it completely leveled off with all of these units in his base, stopping those villagers from gathering. Let's take a look at the military unit graph here. You can see the Jaegers spiking up from basically 0 units, but it's not long before the Sowars get on the board, and you can see the resignation here. But ladies and gentlemen, that was game number 4. Not a clean sweep, potentially a reverse sweep, but either way, Miggo has a point on the board, and that will not be the end of the series.
Okay, looks like the next map is going to be Pampas Sierras, and Miggo does, of course, have to pick first, as he was the winner of the previous game. It is a non-trading post map, so we'll see what Miggo chooses to play. He has a lot more options available to him than Tabben does, as you cannot play any civilizations you've won with, and Tabben, of course, winning 3 games, does have 2 civilizations less available to him than Miggo does.
Equally, though, Miggo does have to select first, which is a disadvantage. This is because he won the previous game, as we know. So let's see what his selection is. He's going to have to be careful. Yes, he has a bigger selection, as Maito's pointing out, but picking first is always a disadvantage. Tabben will have that counter pick.
You have to pick something that is a little bit more versatile, that doesn't get countered super easily. Unfortunately, I think the normal pick in that situation would be India, but he just used India to pick up his first win. So that is off the cards. Looks like it's going to be British, which makes sense on a non-trading post map for sure. They don't really rely on experience or shipments to get their economy rolling, to get their army up. And Tabben going to be responding with Russia, which is something of a counter pick to British, for sure.
Okay, Russia definitely, they have the aggro going for them. They can be aggressive, and as we know, if you hit British early on, stop that boom rolling, can be good. But Tabben, you know, he's still playing a civilization that at some point would benefit from building trading posts. Certainly doesn't have to, but something that he won't have. And I think, you know, going into that late portion of the game could be tough. So we'll see. Oh, God, it's the winter version. Oh, when are they...
That hasn't been changed just yet. I believe that's being changed on Sunday or something like that, which is tomorrow. When we're recording this.
Okay, it's not Christmas anymore, guys. Can we switch Pampas Sierras back to being not a winter map? It's frustrating now, but it was fun for maybe a week, but actually I prefer maps without snow, is what I've decided from this change.
Yeah, I certainly like the way Pampas Sierras looks on the original version. It's a very nice looking map there as well, but unfortunately, let's not dwell on that.
It's fine,
fact.
it's fine. Miggo is starting in the north of the map here. As the British going for an early market there, Explorer will be going onto the left-hand side to pick up the llamas that do spawn there. But interestingly, Tabben, he goes straight into the middle of the map, finds himself 90 coin, so gets to use his crack shot, picks that up, but he's going to forego these llamas, so isn't going to be going there. Late to the feast, says Miggo. Actually, no, you were the first one there. But unless he means the treasure, maybe that was the feast that he was missing out on.
Could be, but either way, looks like he is going to be able to follow this Russian explorer around. He is going to go to the other side of the cliff, because on either side of the cliff there should be a llama, so he will guarantee himself a llama by going to the other side. 2 llamas, actually.
Nice.
Going to be a really nice pickup for him.
And I really like this scouting pattern with the llama in the back there. It's gone on the way home. It's sort of found all the other llamas as it was sort of going back. So he's going to know exactly where to go to pick them up. Going to continue using this other llama because he suspects there should be another one in the area. And he's absolutely right. It's over here, but he's going to have to find that with this llama. But nice. And it's safe because he knows his opponent is down in the bottom of the map there, is not at the top, so there's absolutely no risk in it being captured, especially since Russia does not have an extra unit, and he saw that no treasures were collected that give your opponent an extra unit. So really nice scouting from Miggo there.
And it looks like for the moment he's just going to forego picking those llamas on the northern side of the map. As you said, he knows that Russia can't be up there, so he's totally fine to pick those up later in the game, and he'll just be scouting out the southern side of the map before picking those up. For now, he's just going to sit outside the Russian base for no real reason, it looks like. But no, okay, looks like he is going to move towards the back side of the base, maybe. There is normally a treasure back here. Unfortunately for him, Tabben already picked up whatever was back there, if there was anything. And he is going to end up revealing himself in this house line of sight, so Tabben will know that this 2 sheep treasure he is working on will not be contested just yet, and he'll know exactly where Miggo is coming from to contest that. Actually going to pick up the 40 XP right from underneath Tabben's nose. Not a super big deal as both players have sent their first shipment already, but definitely going to be a nice pickup for him.
Yeah, just might as well grab it there. I think he used his crack shot. It's not like there's anything nearby. I mean, I suppose he doesn't know that, but either way, we'll be recharging and might as well pick it up. But Miggo, looks like that Explorer now going to head home, scout out the rest of this black map area on his way back, and then can go to pick up this llama when he is ready. But we have, by the looks of it, Maito, Tabben, 2 forward villagers coming out. Russia going to be aggressive like we thought that they would be. He's going to lay down a blockhouse in the middle of the map near the British economy.
And I want to talk a little bit about the path that he chose to walk with those villagers, because as we saw, both players were really scouting this western side of the map early on, which means that at this point in time, it's most likely that Miggo is not going to be revisiting this location. So by walking through this way, it's really unlikely that it gets scouted. And it's not the normal place to FB on this map either. You can see Miggo's scouting the middle part here where you would maybe normally see the blockhouse go up. And as a result, it's going to go up behind these walls, so this wall is actually going to be completely worthless for Miggo. However, he might be able to wall in this blockhouse if Tabben's not paying enough attention.
Yeah, maybe
Looks like
he
that is
builds
gonna be what
a wall
he's
on both
attempting to do.
sides.
Tabben can block it if he notices in time.
Yeah,
and it looks like that is going to be what he does. He's going to stand on top of the likely foundation for that next wall.
Yeah, and that does stop it from being built there. But he's losing a lot of sort of building time. I suppose actually it won't matter since he's not in the... Well, he is now in the colonial age, and that villager isn't finishing it off. But if he can stop this wall, then it's going to be really, really good, right? Like, all that time will be justified. But I'm worried that Miggo will just be able to find a way to build it. Yeah, he's managed to slam it there. No, he's on top of the foundation there.
It was really close. Did manage to block it, though.
Yeah, and it's given its time for the explorer to get all the way over here. And now the villager can go back to doing what he's good at, which is gathering resources. The explorer can assume the duty of blocking walls, but Miggo going to give up on that. A nice try and definitely worth the effort, but not going to get that wall up around the blockhouse. If he had, it would give him a bit of extra time, which British would really, really appreciate, but not going to be having that, and he's going to have to deal with these 5 Cossacks straight away, which have just spawned. First shipment on the way, coming into base. That's what Russia's going to do. He's going to be aggressive.
He certainly is. There's an outpost up in British's base, so that will help him defend a little bit. He's also got a stable up, but I don't know if you have the resources to get out 5 Hussars. He's only got 1 in queue, and he's got hardly any resources left in his bank. 1 settler does go down. Unfortunately, she was not where she should be. And yeah, it looks like this might be a little bit challenging to hold. It will be a little bit easier with that tower, but it will be forcing some idle time for sure.
Oh. 2 vills down, this isn't good. I feel like Russia's already achieved what he came to do. Greatcoats would be a really good upgrade, but hasn't got that just yet. Equally though, Russia is standing underneath this town center, and that outpost as well is dealing a lot of damage here. 2 Hussars coming out. If he can get the snare, he will be pretty pleased. Musketeers going into hand combat, but you're going to pick those up. Cossacks now coming back to deal damage, but I think the village is going to get involved, and also still that town center and outpost fire. I think the British is okay with this.
Yeah, it seems like at the end of the day he's going to be alright with this trade. No reinforcing units coming from Tabben either.
No, but he's done what he needed to do, right? Maybe that's an intentional choice from Tabben. He perhaps, okay, 4 Cossacks coming out as a shipment there, but I think whatever Tabben does, he knows he's killed 2 villagers, and that's probably good enough.
Yeah, well, behind this, he is sending 4 Cossacks second, which is aggressive, but he's not training any military units. He's focused on that villager production, which can sometimes be a little bit awkward to maintain as Russia if you're training units at the same time, and instead he's focused on villager production, as I just mentioned, and also got all of his market upgrades behind this. So these Cossacks will just idle Miggo a little bit, make it a little bit harder to continue that Hussar production. And yeah, behind this, he's got a really solid follow-up. 10 Strelets popping now. Not going to be the best answer to this stable, but I imagine that Miggo will want to be dropping barracks relatively soon. There we go.
Oh, can he pick up the third villager? I think it'll be okay. It's got greatcoats now. Looks like it can get into that town center. Miggo, watch your villagers, man! At least he's gotten greatcoats. 2 villagers it's not good to have lost, but it's at least, well, it's not 3 and it's not 4, etc, etc. So I think 2 is manageable, and I think British still in a reasonable spot, but there's 4 villagers over here that try to sneak out, trying to play the sneaky, I'm going to gather over here, but there's no way they can go anywhere, right? They're completely toast. Yeah, that's gonna be GG.
They are toast, and that's gonna be GG. Wow, so very clean final game from Tabben, and he does manage to pick up the series 4-1. Those are some really, really close games overall, aside from maybe this last one, but yeah, very fun series for sure.
Yeah, that was well done from Tabben.
I mean, I think we've said all that really needs to be said about the game. I think we caught the majority of it during the game, and it was pretty one-sided. So
okay, so a quick and dirty game, just 3 shipments there. But Miggo trying to get away with the villagers on the side here, but Tabben saying that they were just in line of sight. He just managed to see them and was going to go and get them. But if they'd been managed to gathering there without being spotted, that, when his opponent's in base here, there's just basically more villagers gathering in general, could have worked out. And I think that's a play British was sort of willing to risk, given that he'd lost a couple of villagers, but does end up losing this game here. Tabben takes the series and earns himself $50. So congratulations to Tabben. I'll send that over shortly. But yes, Patreon is how we fund that $50. So if that's something you'd be interested in having a look at, then thank you very much. But yes, thank you to all the patrons who do generously support us, even though these videos are free. I appreciate it, and it lets us keep bringing SmackDown to you. So that's pretty good, and I'm pleased. Let's take a look at the post-game before we go, but also join my Discord, because you can vote on the next SmackDown. So this one was supposed to be Fortress Age Politicians revamped. That will indeed be next week now. So we'll have normal supremacy again, but then afterwards, whatever is voted on will indeed be the SmackDown of choice. So let's take a quick look at the standings so far. I'm going to pull my Discord into the view. And here we have districts. Players start with 2 town centres, currently on 18. An interesting fort, currently on 18. By the way, the dislikes, not really paying very much attention to them at all. It's really just the thumbs up. But if it's a tie, maybe the dislikes will come into use. But it's really just the thumbs up that I'm looking at. But what's winning at the moment is down here, free mills and plantations. So just to be clear, this is for one SmackDown and one SmackDown only. It will not be a permanent SmackDown change, but we'll do a SmackDown where mills, plantations, etc. Cost nothing. But the thing that's really winning the most is who's the best coach? 28 upvotes. So me and Maito thought it would be a good fun to... well, I'm going to play against Riki, and this will be happening on, I think, Wednesday in the future. It doesn't matter when, but I'm going to play against Riki, and Kaiser Klein will be coaching Riki, and Maito is going to be coaching me. We're going to be playing the SmackDowns, and we'll see who's the best coach, I guess.